Cheese is loved globally, but the uncomfortable truth is, it's just controlled, rotting milk.
But one variation is so dangerous, it contains live maggots and is totally illegal worldwide.
Today, we break down the cheese matrix, from fake plastic slices to the world's most terrifying cheese.
We start with the American slice. By law, it's not cheese, just a cheese product.
To stop it from spoiling, they pasteurized it heavily, killing all the natural, living bacteria. The real magic is sodium citrate. This chemical permanently binds the fat and water together. Unlike real cheddar that separates into greasy oil when heated, American cheese melts flawlessly. At the factory, it is pumped as a hot, thick orange liquid directly into plastic film. It lacks complex flavor because it doesn't age. It's built entirely for texture. Its unmatched gooey melting capability is the exact reason it dominates the fast food burger industry. Because of the salts and processing, it has a terrifyingly long, almost unnatural shelf life. But if you want real, living, breathing cheese, we have to travel to Naples, Italy. Next is mozzarella. Unlike hard cheeses, it is never aged. It's meant to be eaten completely fresh. And true, authentic Italian mozzarella isn't made from cow's milk, but from massive water buffaloes. The thick milk is cut into small chunks, separating the solid curds from the liquid whey. They add an enzyme called rennet, originally found in calf stomachs, to rapidly thicken the milk. Then comes the magic. These crumbly curds are dropped directly into a vat of boiling hot water. Using a paddle, workers stretch and fold the hot cheese, physically aligning the protein strands. The name mozzarella actually comes from the Italian word mozzare, which means to cut or pinch off. To keep them perfectly soft and squishy, the finished balls are stored directly in salty water. This stretching traps tiny water pockets. That's the exact science behind the legendary pizza cheese pull. But because it's so wet and unaged, true fresh mozzarella will spoil in just a few days. Moving to hard cheese, we have cheddar. Born in an English village, it now dominates the globe. Before modern fridges, farmers hid these massive wheels deep inside natural limestone caves to age safely. It requires a unique step called cheddaring, where workers stack heavy curd slabs like bricks. This immense pressure squeezes out the liquid whey. Less moisture creates a much harder, sharper cheese. To prevent bad mold from growing during the long aging process, the wheels are coated in wax.
Cheddar is aged anywhere from a few months to 5 full years, drastically changing its chemistry. If your aged cheddar feels crunchy, it isn't salt. Those are actually crystallized calcium lactate.
During aging, bacteria eat almost all the milk sugars, making hard cheddar safe for lactose-intolerant people.
Because it travels well and lasts for years, it became the most mass-produced hard cheese ever.
Moving to the mountains, we find Emmental, globally recognized as the classic whole-filled Swiss cheese.
True Emmental is made high up in the Swiss Alps, using fresh milk from free-roaming cows. These cheese wheels are absolute monsters. A single wheel can weigh over 200 pounds. By strict Swiss law, the milk cannot be pasteurized or boiled. It must remain completely raw. To control the fermentation process, cheesemakers add 3 very specific types of live bacteria. The heavy wheels are moved from a cold cellar into a warm room to trigger fermentation. The warm bacteria eat lactic acid,
releasing massive amounts of trapped carbon dioxide gas.
This gas physically blows up pockets inside the thick crust, creating those iconic, shiny, round holes.
Scientists recently discovered these holes actually form around microscopic pieces of hay dust inside the milk.
It melts beautifully and tastes incredibly nutty, making it the ultimate base for traditional Swiss fondue. Moving to Italy, we find Parmigiano Reggiano, widely known as the absolute king of all cheeses.
By strict Italian law, it can only be made in the specific region of Emilia-Romagna. The cows are heavily regulated.
The fresh milk is heated in traditional, bell-shaped copper vats to form the heavy wheels. Before aging, these heavy wheels float in a bath of Mediterranean salt water for 20 days. They are then moved to massive aging vaults, resting on wooden shelves for several years.
A master tester hits every single wheel with a tiny acoustic hammer to check for flaws.
If it passes the acoustic test, it receives the official, legally binding fire-branded stamp.
Aging creates tyrosine. These are crunchy, savory amino acid crystals that give it insane umami flavor.
Because a single wheel costs over $1,000, Italian banks actually accept them as loan collateral.
Moving to France, we find Brie, a dangerously soft, gooey cheese known as the Queen. But that beautiful, soft white skin on the outside? It is actually a living fungus.
Cheesemakers actually spray the fresh wheels with a specific white mold called Penicillium camemberti.
Stored in a humid cellar, this fluffy white mold rapidly blooms and covers the cheese.
Workers constantly pat this fuzzy mold down by hand, forcing it into a solid skin. Unlike hard,
this powerful mold completely breaks the solid cheese down into a rich, buttery, runny paste.
because the rind acts like a bowl, you can bake it whole until it liquefies.
As the mold eats the proteins, it releases ammonia, which causes its famous funky smell.
Legend says King Louis XVI requested a final taste of Brie before his execution. Now we enter extreme territory with blue cheese, famous for its sharp, aggressive flavor. Those dark blue and green lines running through the cheese are literally living, breathing mold. Makers inject a very specific, aggressive fungus called Penicillium roqueforti directly into the milk.
But mold need oxygen to survive. So, they punch hundreds of deep holes using needles. Air flows into these tiny tunnels, causing the blue mold to aggressively spread and bloom.
Despite the extreme appearance, its bold, salty flavor makes it the perfect pairing for steak.
The bacteria also produce isovaleric acid. That is the exact chemical causing human foot odor.
This mold breaks down fats so violently, it creates a sharp, spicy, almost metallic taste. Legendary Roquefort blue cheese is still aged inside naturally damp, moldy mountain caves in France.
Unlike the toxic mold on old bread, this specific fungus is completely safe for humans.
Moving to Germany, we find Limburger, a cheese universally famous for its incredibly offensive smell.
During aging, makers continuously wash the outside of the cheese with a salty brine solution.
This constant washing breeds a very specific red bacteria called Brevibacterium linens on the skin.
Shockingly, this is the exact same bacteria that lives on human skin and causes body odor.
In fact, scientists proved that malaria mosquitoes are equally attracted to Limburger and dirty human feet.
But if you cut past the stinky skin, the inside is actually soft and buttery.
Traditionally, it is eaten on thick rye bread, topped heavily with slices of raw onion.
It became massively popular with working-class Americans in the 1920s as a cheap protein source.
Moving to Cyprus, we find halloumi, a bizarre, rubbery cheese that is practically fireproof.
Unlike normal cheese that turns into a greasy puddle, you can literally grill or fry halloumi.
The secret is in the chemistry. Makers use zero acid during the entire production process.
Without acid, the milk proteins form an incredibly strong, tight network that resists high heat.
After pressing the curds, makers boil the solid cheese blocks directly inside their own liquid.
While boiling hot, they fold it in half, usually trapping fresh mint leaves inside.
Because the protein network is so tight, it rubs against your teeth when you bite.
This friction creates a loud, rubbery squeak inside your mouth, making it incredibly fun to eat.
Traditionally, it is never made with cow's milk, but a rich blend of sheep and goat.
The high heat caramelizes the outside sugars, creating a crispy, savory brown crust you will love.
Finally, we reach the most dangerous cheese on earth, Casu Marzu, from Sardinia, Italy.
Makers leave sheep's milk cheese outside so a specific fly can lay its eggs inside.
The hatched maggots eat the cheese. Their stomach acid violently digests the proteins and fats. These maggots can launch themselves 6 inches into the air, forcing locals to cover their eyes. If the maggots are dead, the cheese is considered toxic and completely unsafe to eat. Because of this extreme health risk, the EU banned it, driving it entirely into the black market. Would you risk eating Casu Marzu? Subscribe to Curiograph to uncover more insane food secrets.